Let's be honest. We're all excited about GG and ST math, but the reality is if you can't tie what you're doing in the classroom to the curriculum, how does it really help the students? Yes, it's important for students to have individualized paths that are appropriate for where they are. However, it also helps when we can tie in directly what we're using in our curriculum with the ST math program as well. And so what we're going to talk about today is, of course, first, how do you get to SC Math, which I know most people are already using because that is a required piece for the district. After we talk about how to get to SC Math, next we'll talk about setting some goals and the variety of ways that ST Math has created for goal setting. And this is something that you may or may not want to do in your classroom, just depending. Some people like to have something to go back to, and some students like to have something to go back to say, hey, this is where I started and this was where I am. So we'll talk about goal setting. The next thing we'll talk about is how to actually set the student's path. So it's not just grade level curriculum, but it's actually hitting the information that you're currently on so that students are playing games that are practicing the skills that you're teaching in the curriculum right now, just in time with GG. The next thing we'll talk about is how to view the objectives and assignments that you have set for your students. Welcome to ST Math, creating intentional math success. Getting into ST Math, of course, is as easy as 1, 2, 3. As with any other software that you access for your district, you'll start from your school's homepage. From your school's homepage, you'll scroll down to Staff Tools. After Staff Tools, you'll scroll down to where it says Teacher Tools and then choose Clever. Once you log into Clever, you'll scroll down to the bottom in the math area and you will see the ST Math symbol. Then you'll click on ST Math to log in. Okay, so we're going to get started looking at some goals. So there are so many options available with ST Math in terms of how you can record goals. I'm simply going to pull up my Google Drive and just go through some of the opportunities that you have to do goal setting through calendars or through progress charts or through journaling. And so I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, and then within this video, there will be attachments. And if you go to any of those attachments, you'll be able to grab those resources, as well as all these resources are also located directly on ST Math as well. Okay, so getting started with goal setting. All of the goal setting materials I'm accessing directly from ST Math. You can go directly to ST Math Help, and you'll notice where it says resources and printables. After you click on resources and printables, it'll give you a list of various things that you can access. So we'll focus on a few things today. The first one will be progress posters. The next one will be the data trackers and journals. The next one will be exit tickets. I wouldn't feel right if I didn't go over and show you guys all the celebration resources that you have if you like to celebrate in your classroom. And the last one that I found interesting is the How Are You cards for teachers who like to allow their students to work independently, but also just want to have some type of gauge of how students are doing when they are working. Okay, so the first one is the progress posters. So I'll have to say, as an elementary teacher, I know a lot of times posters are big in classrooms, and sometimes students like to see their names and so on and so forth. And so this kind of gives you the opportunity to put every student name and then, just kind of fill in with stars or whatever you like. If you're interested in having any of these things, these progress reports printed big, I will be more than happy to print them for you. They have another progress poster that you also can type in, which I think is great because then you don't have to worry about actually writing into it. And that will be the one that says fillable. So I'm just gonna open that so you can see the difference. Here I can click and just type in each student's name. If anyone is interested in me doing this for you, I would be more than happy to do this for you as well. Just fill in a student's name and print it and bring it to you. So that is the progress report. That's one way that you can do goal setting in your classroom. Of course, the first one I showed you has the stars, and this one has the percentages. So then essentially every time a student completed more of a percentage, when they're on that path, that grade level path, they could fill it in to show that they are progressing. Okay, and then you have a individual progress tracker, which I think would be probably more appropriate for second, third, fourth grade, something that students could just keep at their desk, in their desk, and every time they complete a percentage of their grade level path, or if you put them on different paths to focus on for certain lessons, then they could fill in the percentage as well, and they would just sign their name next to it. I would keep in mind, if you did something with the percentages or any progress monitoring that you do, you just want to ensure that if you're doing assignments, that if the progress monitoring is going to be for the assignments design or for the grade level path, and just, ensure that students know exactly what they're monitoring, right? Alrighty, so those are the 3 charts. Now here are the data trackers. And you'll see there are quite a few. So they have the journal pages, of course, which will be more so, I feel, again, for the older students, if they are keeping track constantly of every time they're working on ST Math. They have some reflection sheets. And then they have some additional data trackers down here, I think, that are more teacher-centered in terms of how they're set up and setting up goals and things like that. And then they also have like a little passport book, and they have this goal sheet. So I really like this primary sheet, so I'm going to pull this one up. They have one of these that's fillable as well, that you could put the goals in. And what you do with this sheet is you would put the goal in, and let's just say completed 5 puzzles. And then once the student reaches that goal, they'll color in the nose, and you put another goal here, then they'll color in the head, and so on and so forth. And so I think this is a really cool this goal setting sheet, and I love how it just allows you to be able to set it exactly to what you want it to be. They have some more primary goal setters down here as well. They have a usage calendar, and I'm going to open up the usage calendar because I think this is a really cool one as well, just for students to keep at their desk. And I like that it's not managed by time, if you will. So yes, it's like a monthly calendar, if you will, but it basically has the dates, and you can fill them in anytime you get a chance to use it. So whatever Monday you guys use it, they can fill in a date. They can say they work for 10 minutes and put how many puzzles they completed. And the next time, if they come back and they work on a Thursday, or they come back on a Tuesday, it doesn't really matter. Just as long as they're filling in the information, it kind of gives you an idea, and them an idea of how they are progressing through the month. So another great usage idea. And I'm going to scroll up some more. Not sure why Google is stalking me, but every once in a while that happens. All right, so let's look at one of the journal pages, and let me just open that one up. All right, draw the sequence of how you solve the puzzle. So as you see, there are so many opportunities just for you to allow students to track their own data, and for you to just have some additional something to go with the ST Math to say, hey, we're doing this, to allow students to see like, hey, you guys are doing great. And that is the whole purpose of tracking the data, right? I know we have spring break coming up, so I'll bring this one up because this looks appropriate for that. This is a nice challenge, if you will, and it says ST Math Fall Break Challenge. But of course, for spring, I'm sure they'll come up with one. And if they don't, I can always go in and change the words. So if anybody's interested in this particular one, just let me know. We can change it to spring break challenge, and then you can have something to send home for students to work on during the spring break in terms of them completing their puzzles. Alrighty, so that's just a very few of the data trackers and journal pages. And I'm just going to scroll down again so you can see how many options you have in terms of tracking your students' data. Okay. The next one is that one, exit tickets. So SE Math also has exit tickets. And I think with exit tickets, especially with the upper grade levels, it just kind of allows the students to feel like, okay, this is something I really need to put some time into, because then I know I have to do this exit ticket or whatever is required of me. And so the opportunity for logging into SE Math and then doing something else when the teacher walks away is not so much, because if you're tracking, if they only did, if their exit ticket is looking the same each time, it's because they're not progressing, they're not actually doing anything. And so they will be aware of that. And so it would be kind of encouraging for them to, go ahead and do that 15 minutes because they know they have to put their exit ticket in. So just a little fun with exit tickets. Again, you can create them as fillable, where you put in a student names or so on and so forth, just to kind of give you some opportunity. Oh, and imagine this with the fillable. Imagine if you downloaded it for upper grades and actually put this into Google Classroom. And so then it's accessible right from Google Classroom. They complete their exit ticket right on the computer and turn it in after they complete their SE Math live course. Alrighty. And the last two things are the celebration resources and the how are you doing. So for celebration resources, they have a lot of great posters and things, and some really cool special messages. So just imagine if you downloaded one of these messages and pulled it up and, just said like, hey, Gigi wants to say hi to us today. And imagine how excited your class would be, like, oh my goodness, they came in just for us. Yes, it's on YouTube, not really, but yes, they did just for us, right? So it's so important for us to celebrate our students. So they have like a little award trophy, but they also have some great personal certificates that you can print out for students. Again, if you're looking for printing out some personal certificates, even if you sent me like names of students and what certificates you wanted them to have, I also would be happy to do that for you as well. Just have to know. But I am definitely in the life of rewarding students for the hard work that they put in. So here are all the different certificates that they have. And of course, they look all something like this, but with the different words on them. And you just click on them to pull them up. And last but not least, the how are you doing cards. And so the how are you doing cards, of course, just means how are you doing. And as a computer teacher, sometimes we will have these types of things in the lab. It allows us to know where students are. And so this is something I thought, I should bring up to teachers, because I'm not sure if teachers would ever have anything like this in the class. But when you teach computers, this is something you already know about, creating something like this. And so with the how are you doing card, of course it says I'm doing great, I'm doing okay. And so what you do with them is, for this particular one, I was trying to think, I think you can fold it into a triangle and just wrap the other ones around, and then they get folded and kind of tint it, if you will, to say, okay, I'm doing great. And so however they're feeling, you can cut them into strips and staple them. However they're feeling, they would have that one in front of them. And then that way, if you're walking around and you're seeing reds, then those are the students that you need to get to, versus the greens or the blues. And even if you're seeing reds or seeing yellows or oranges, having the students do table talks to say, hey, this student is frustrated. Can you see if you can help them figure out that puzzle, or so on and so forth. So just some great resources provided by ST Math that I hope you can find useful. Okay, so we're going to look at ST Math. So when you log into ST Math, you'll see a page that looks something like this with your student data on there. You'll notice that you have a column that says progress. And of course, this progress will indicate how far along the student is in completing the puzzles assigned for that particular grade level. You'll notice you'll have a last sign in place where it will indicate when the last time students signed in. You'll also have alerts where if a student is struggling on a current level, you can click on the alert and gain more insight into what the student is struggling with so that you can help them more specifically past what they are struggling with. You'll also notice that it says currently playing, and when you click on the currently playing, it'll give you the objectives and let you know how many puzzles they have to pass this. You also can click on whatever the game is as well. You can look at the game. It'll give you an overview. You can look at the actual game to kind of get an understanding of how to help them through. And it will actually show you what the little quiz looked like going into that game when they did the pre quiz and then they do a post quiz, of course. All right, you'll also see what current game they're playing on within the path that they're in. You'll see how many tries they've had. And I'm going to scroll down because I got a lot more information here. You'll see their grade level, how many times per week, how many times they've done that particular puzzle. And the last week, a lot of time information and about how many puzzles they're completing per minute. Okay, and so that is our students tab. The next tab is the usage tab. And of course, this tab is going to tell us more about overall how often our students are using ST Math. And I'm just scrolling down. And the tab that we want to focus on today is actually the objectives tab. And so with this objectives task, you'll notice that it says journey, and then it says assignments. Okay. And so right now, most people are working specifically on whatever grade level journey. Okay. And so it'll show you overall how your class is doing in terms of completing the journey. So we see this particular class has completed all of the intro to ST Math. So that was 19 lessons. And we see they're all completed the numbers and almost all of them have completed the numbers and objects to 5. So 15 out of 19, right? And we'll go on and we'll see as we go along. And we see one student is doing very, very well, which means they're probably working ST Math, likely after hours or something, where they are going pretty fast, right? They're doing really, really good. As a matter of fact, almost all the way through all of the kindergarten portion of the journey. So the nice thing is we can switch over to assignments, and I'm going to change this to add an assignment. So you can allow student choice, and what allows student choice does is it allows the student to pick, yes, I'm going to work on my kindergarten journey, or no, I'm going to work on the assignment. So just depending on what your purpose is, you as a teacher should determine whether or not that's appropriate for your goal. So when I click on add assignment, I'll see here I have the option to organize by ST Math journey or I can organize by standard. Okay, so imagine that. You also can look here and you can change, whatever grade level that you deem is appropriate. So here I am, I'm going to leave it kindergarten, I'm going to leave it standards. And let's just say, for example, we're actually working on measurement and data. So I'm going to hit this drop down right here. And I'm not going to assign all 552 puzzles of measurement and data. I want to look more deeply into what specific standard I am focusing on right at this moment that students are struggling with, or I really need to support this curriculum content. And so from that, I can just choose, okay, yep, we're going to do all of this one. And it's going to grab that one as well. And let's just say that's going to be our focus. And I'm going to click on Assign Selected. Now, when I assign it, that particular way is going to assign it to the entire class. So this is a class assignment. There is also a way where you can do individual assignments for students so that you can support individual student learning goals as well. So you'll notice after I assign that, if along the kindergarten journey path, students have already hit some of these things, it'll already show. So here I see 4 students have already completed the greater than, less than, equal to portion of the standard that I'm looking for them to complete right now. You also could move them up and down according to the order that you want it in, or if you just wanted to remove it, you can click on remove as well. And so that is how you add an assignment. And I think it's really, really great to be able to support your curriculum by adding in assignments for students so that they can not only experience ST Math and the greatness of the science behind ST Math, which I love. It is a really, really great program, but also so that you as a teacher in the classroom don't feel like this is something extra that you have to do. The purpose in ST Math is to support your students, but also to support you and teaching the curriculum as well. I'm going to jump back to Journey here. And so I see their journey, and of course I see their assignments. Now I'm going to jump over to settings, because in my settings, I can turn the journey on or turn the journey off. So let's just say, for example, I only want my students to focus on the assignments that I have for them right now. I don't want them focused on the journey. So I can set it per student, where I can individually say, okay, I want these students working on the journey, and these other students, I want focus only on the assignments. Or I can turn it completely off, right? Or I can turn it off only when assignments are available. So that means if I turn it off when assignments are available, when students complete the assignments, the journey will kick right back in and they can pick up where they left off at. And so there's never a time where they don't know, there's nothing for them to do, essentially. So that is the option that I like. And again, I'm going to jump back up to the top just so you can see where I got it from. Settings. I created the assignment under objectives. So journey is where all students are working from their grade level journey, and assignments is where you can set it to what you want students to work on according to standard, or to support the curriculum that you're doing in the classroom. And then settings is where I change it to make sure that students are working on the assignments and not just on the journey. I know that this was short and sweet. I hope that everyone enjoyed it. I'd like to thank Ms. Herrera for allowing us to just preview her student data to create this instructional video. And of course, according to FERPA, I have blurred out all the student names, so we're good there. And I just hope that you guys really take this and go back and really create intentional math success using ST Math.